Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's meal prep or this week's meal prep. We are in week 6 already for meal prep, and today we're going to do a fish casserole first, and then we're going to do an oven roasted sea bass and chicken and veggie roast in the oven. So let's first start with our casserole. While we are doing our casserole, let's heat up our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've gone ahead and roasted some zucchinis and eggplant because that's what we're going to need for this dish. But first and foremost, I don't want my beautiful zucchinis and eggplant to stick to this pan, since it's not a non-stick pan. And so I'm just using some parchment paper that I wet so that it can lay nicely down at the bottom. And then we want to start with our zucchinis and eggplant, and we're just going to lay it first on the edges of the pan. You'll see in a minute what I'm doing here, just like that. And your zucchinis cannot be too thick. Your eggplant should also not be too thick. It should be pliable, for a lack of a better term. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Oops, that one just broke. So basically 2 zucchinis, then an eggplant, that kind of thing am I creating here. Oops, a mess. So let me lay this and come back to you. So we're done with the edges, and now I'm just going to put some at the bottom of the pan as well. And just roughly. And now that that's done, we want to stack our other ingredients. Once this is done, we want to add some tomatoes and parsley. And this is just cherry tomatoes and parsley that I mixed. Then I'm going to lay our pieces of fish. So nothing is salted yet except for the eggplant and the zucchini, which was roasted separately. Now I'm going to add salt and pepper to that. I'm just going to sprinkle it over the fish. And you want to be generous with the salt and pepper over your fish, because there's no salt and pepper over the fish. And then after this, I am just going to put this egg in here. And now we want to cover this with mashed potatoes. Also the mashed potatoes I done earlier. This casserole is coming nicely together. Very nice. I love it. And now we want to fold these parts of the zucchinis of an eggplant, the flaps, so to speak. Fold it over. And as you can see, there is now a little gap here in the middle of the dish. You can either cover it with more zucchinis and eggplant, or you can leave it like this. For me, I am going to leave it like this and just stick it in the oven. And so dish 1 is finished. Let's put this in the oven. And the rest of our zucchinis and eggplant will be used for our lunch veggies. Our next dish is our sea bass, and what we need for that is just a piece of sea bass, or whole sea bass that you cut in half. And then I caramelized some onions, a 1/4 cup of onions, and cooked onions. So when the onions is cooked and caramelized, you measure it into a 1/4 cup, and a 1/4 cup of cooked down tomatoes as well. You're probably going to need 3 onions for your caramelized onions, and 2 tomatoes for your cooked down tomatoes. And now we just want to mix these two together. Now I'm going to spray my pan with olive oil spray, just generously. Next, I want to salt and pepper my fish. I forgot to do that. You want to salt and pepper your fish on both sides. Then we want to lay down some dill at the bottom of our pan. And some of this mixture just in the middle. Concentrate on your center where you're going to lay your fish. And now we lay our fish down. Oops, I forgot. Lemon pieces as well. And to make this a 1 skillet dish, we also want to add potato slices. And I forgot to add the potato slices, so I'm adding it now. So you're just adding that. And then some dill on the top of the fish. Some lemon pieces. And the rest of this mixture. And also slices on top of the fish. And then just salt your potatoes a bit. And then we pour 1/2 cup of water over and cover it with some parchment paper. Once again, I have wet the parchment paper, and this one also in the oven. Our next dish is a chicken veggie roast. We are just going to oil the bottom of our pan with 1 teaspoon of oil, not a tablespoon, just a teaspoon, and brush it on the bottom with that oil. And now we want to lay down our chicken, skin down. But first, lay down our chicken. Salt and pepper your chicken. I did not salt and pepper my chicken, so I need to do that. Then I'm going to lay some rosemary sprigs, and my chicken is skinned down. There you go. Salt and pepper at the top of your chicken. And you always want to keep one side for your butternut squash, because that's what we're going to add here. And we can add this now, the butternut squash. Put that on the side of your pan. And then we want to put some carrots with the chicken. And some potatoes. And put some salt on your potatoes as well. And a teaspoon of sugar over your butternut squash. And now this dish is also done in the oven. While our first 3 dishes are in the oven, let's start with our stovetop meal, which will be chicken tofu with broccoli in a sticky soy sauce. Let's start. Tofu, be generous with your oil. We need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All you want to do is toss your tofu in your olive oil. You've seen me do this before, so there's nothing new to it. Salt and pepper your tofu. Just lightly, not heavily. Next, we move on to our chicken. For our chicken, we will need 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And this is chicken breast. Chicken breast that I sliced in chicken tenders, like this. I have a mixture of salt and pepper here, and so I'm just going to lightly sprinkle some salt and pepper over the chicken. And lastly, we're going to do our broccoli. And for the broccoli, again, you are going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. My broccoli is cut into florets, and as you know, I like to rub my veggies into my oil. And I will spray the top with olive oil spray. And now all 3 of this will cook, and then we're going to put it together. But while we wait for this, let's start with our sauce. For our sauce, we need 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of water, 2 teaspoons of sugar, brown sugar preferably. Now we want to give this a stir until your sugar dissolves. Then I'm going to stir in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. That is going to thicken up the sauce. The sugar makes it sticky, and the cornstarch thickens the sauce. As you can see, our broccoli is nice and brown. It just has a nice char on it. Now we're going to add the sauce, so the sauce can start thickening while our tofu is still cooking. And the sauce is thickening almost immediately. It's going to need more water because the sauce is way too thick now. You can see the consistency of the sauce is nice, it's thick. It sticks to the broccoli, and that's exactly what you want. You do not want something that is runny. Add the chicken. The dish is now complete. I added all the tofu and the chicken and the broccoli, and the flavors are perfect. Look at that. On to our vegetables. As per usual, our sautéed okra. A tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of coriander seeds, half a tablespoon of cumin seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of sugar. We're going to cook our spices on high heat. Our spices are nice and roasted. It has reached its smoking point. Now we can add our 400 grams of okra. And looking, there's a fly. I don't know how that fly came in here. Now you're just going to stir and toss until your okra has a nice char. And after that, we are going to put in our sweet peppers. I added the bell peppers, as you can see. And I will just continue stirring it now until the bell peppers are roasted as well as the okra. And I cannot tell you how long that takes. All you have to do is keep stirring. This is a very good lunch veggie or even for dinner. And so our second batch of veggies is done. So far we have eggplant and zucchinis roasted. And then we have okra and sweet peppers sauteed. Alright guys, next I'm sauteing my Chinese cabbage with mushrooms. So here are our pans. Each pan will get a tablespoon of olive oil. This is 200 grams of sliced mushrooms. Just want to toss this, rub the mushrooms in the oil a bit. This is the hot part of the Chinese cabbage, and this is 2 Chinese cabbage that I'm using. Each I'm going to spray with olive oil. Oops. Salt and pepper for each one. By the way, if you need a snack, a healthy snack, I made potato skins in the air fryer. It's very nice for at night when you want to snack on something. It tastes fantastic. And as the cabbage leaves are done on this side, I'm just tossing it on top of the hot pots. And I take another tablespoon of olive oil and another batch of the cabbage. We eat a lot of veggies, so spray it with olive oil on top and let it sear for 30 seconds on one side, and then you turn it. You can see it browns very quickly, the leaves. And now all our leaves are done. We can add our mushrooms. And I'm cooking this on high heat so that the hot pots can brown quickly. And here we have a lovely Chinese cabbage stir fry. That will go with any dish. I'm going to salt it a bit, salt and pepper, and then give it a toss. And now it's done. Back with proteins. So for lunch proteins, we're going to have our staple prawns. We're going to have our staple salmon. That's going to go in the air fryer. Let's put it in now before the flies come and sit on it. I don't know, there's 2 flies in this house, and specifically in the kitchen, and I don't know how they got in. Salt and pepper, half a teaspoon, and just a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We're going to put this for 10 minutes. As you know, our prawns, we don't add oil to it, so let's just add that to our pan. Salt and pepper, I still have here a mix. Over here, we're going to put our chicken, and we have chicken tenders. We're making chicken tenders today. 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Put your tenders in, rub it in the oil. I'm taking a bigger pan for the tenders to spread it out better. Salt and pepper. It's the last bit of our mix. Guys, I also added a teaspoon of garlic to the prawns, plus just a little bit, half a handful of parsley. And to the chicken, I add a handful of parsley and a teaspoon of garlic, plus a teaspoon of coriander powder and a teaspoon of cumin powder. And there it is, our lunch veggies. Sorry, not lunch veggies, but our lunch proteins are done. So are our lunch veggies. And so it took me today 3.5 hours for all the veggies, the lunch proteins, as well as the 4 main dishes. And you might think that, oh, you can do that every evening. It's not the same. As meal prep is not the same as cooking every evening. You come from your job, whether you work in your house or outside of your house, and then you still have to think about what to cook for the evening. By the end of the day, you are exhausted, you are tired, and that is why meal prep is so important, or can save you time and energy. Just to think about, what am I supposed to cook tonight? Or what am I going to take out for tonight? That in itself is a headache. Whereas if you plan what meals you want to cook for the week, even if you just do your main meals, because you can do sandwiches for lunch. I have health concerns and health conditions. That's why I have to have cooked meals for lunch as well. That is best for my gut. But you can have sandwiches for lunch, and it will take you 2 hours to prep 4 dinner meals for the week. Anyhow,